Annabelle from New York.
Good night, very hoş geldiniz. I want to say good morning, welcome to Istanbul, and we have really a surprisingly very high attendance for the pre-Congress workshops.
So, after all this event depends very much on the presenters of the workshop, and before starting we'd like to present the group of the presenters. And your workshop is
about dreams and imagination in group psychotherapy and psychodrama.
Okay. Your name?
And my name is Greta Lloyd. I'm quite familiar already with Turkey, very happy to be here. And we do the workshop together.
Okay. Then you, Malcolm?
Malcolm Pines from London. Workshop on group analysis today with my colleague from London.
Julia Shipos. I'm with.
Okay.
Anna Schuttenberger from France on transgenerational links and repetition of family dramas.
3 colleagues that will represent themselves. Our workshop is about dialogue in apparently impossible circumstances.
Like now. Okay, good.
I'm Kate Bradshaw-Tavon, working together with Dove and the others on dialogue in almost impossible circumstances.
Okay, good.
You're Anna-Linn, Stockholm, Sweden, together with Duby, Kate, and Ruthie doing the workshop on dialogues in impossible.
Getting better all the time.
Yes?
Ruthie Dueck. I'm with them.
Okay.
Marianne Victorine from Sweden, and I'm working with organizational consultation. Maybe you could need some help.
I'm Morris Nitson from England, and I'm doing a workshop on the anti-group.
Okay.
Francis Bonds-White from Philadelphia in the USA.
Roberto Inocencio from Spain.
And we're doing a workshop, Men and Women Together and Apart, Gender and Culture.
Okay. Yes, please.
Isami Chiba. I'm from Brazil and work with adolescents and family. And my colleagues, we will do together this workshop.
Okay.
Yeah, Alberto Serrano, United States, and we'll be doing a workshop, combined workshop on adolescents in step families.
Rick Raposa from the United States, adolescents and step families.
Okay. And now?
Mohammed Volkan Kıbrıs'tan, aynı zamanda Amerika'dan, from USA and from Northern Cyprus.
And now?
Sue Daniel from Melbourne, Australia, and my session is called Living Creatively, Working Together.
Okay. So we, as the organizers of this event, Lila and me, we are available. We are meeting you if you like us to meet there, where in this place or in the other place we will leave a note. So if you have any question, any concern about the structure, the timetable, which is announced in the program, but maybe we can shortly repeat it just to have a common sense of it. So we will work now until
9:30, the workshops are starting. 9:30 to 11, then we have half an hour break, 11:30 to 1, and then lunch break for 1 hour, then 2 to 3:30, lunch, coffee break again, and 4 to 5:30, again workshop. So 4 sessions of 1 hour and a half for each workshop today.
Fits with the multicultural intention of having the meeting in Istanbul and really make it texture of IAGP. İyi akşamlar, hoş geldiniz. Good evening and welcome. On behalf of the Board of Directors of IAGP, I'm happy to welcome you to the 15th Congress.
15. kongrede
I am
buyur
Howard
etmekle
Kybal. I'm one of
çok
the
mutlu olduğumu
scientific
söylemek ve selamlamak isterim.
program co-chairs.
Doktor Kaybuk, teşekkür ederim. Sayın Kongre katılımcıları, Uluslararası Grup Psikoterapileri Birliği Başkanları, Doktor Sabar Rastumje, Doktor Crystal Sanda, 15. Kongre Bilimsel Board Kurulu üyeleri, Lokal Düzenleme Kurulu üyeleri, sayın basın temsilcileri, sayın protokol, değerli konuklar, kültürlerin kesiştiği, grupların kaynaştığı, Asya ve Avrupa kıtalarının birleştiği ülkemize ve İstanbul'a, kongremize geldiğiniz için en samimi duygu ve düşüncelerle sizleri selamlıyorum. Hoş geldiniz diyorum. 1976 yılında Ankara'da Ankara Tıp Fakültesi Psikiyatri Kliniğinde gerçekleştirilen 1. Ulusal Grup Psikoterapileri Kongresi düzenli olarak her yıl yapılmıştır. 1982 yılında Türkiye Grup Psikoterapiler Derneği kurulmuştur. Kamu yararına dernek olarak Türkiye Cumhuriyeti Hükümeti tarafından kabul edilmiştir. 1984 yılında Dr. Abdülkadir Özbek ve Dr. Gretel Lloyd tarafından alınan karar sonucu Ulusal Grup Psikoterapileri Kongrelerinin Ankara yerine bu mekanda İzmir, Bergama Antik Tiyatrosu Aksepyon'da Türkiye Grup Psikoterapileri Derneği ile düzenlenmesine karar verilmiştir. Bergama'da düzenlenen grup psikoterapileri kongrelerine Özbek ve Lloyd hocaların girişimleriyle her yıl yurt içinden ve yurt dışından konuyla ilgili pek çok bilim adamı davet edilerek verdikleri konferanslar ve yaptıkları grup çalışmaları ile bilimsel yönden kongrelerimizi zenginleştirmişlerdir. Kongrelerimizi uluslararası katılımlı duruma getirmişler, dünyada faaliyetlerimizin tanınmasında öncülük etmişlerdir. Burada olan ve olmayan tüm bilim, kültür, gönül elçilerimizi, sizleri saygıyla selamlıyor, teşekkür ediyorum.
Ayrıca analitik gruplarında Türkiye'de yaşamaya, filizlenmeye başladığını bildirmek isterim. Hem İzmir hem Ankara'da analitik grup çalışmaları ve eğitimleri sürdürülmektedir. Folks, grup analiz ve psikodrama gruplarındaki dramatik komünikasyon tarzına dikkatimizi çeker. Psikodrama ve psikanalizde analitik gruplarda üyeler hem aktör hem de gözlemci olmak gibi çifte bir rol içine girerler. Katılımcılar tarafından yaratılan ortak alan içinde hayali bir sahnede üyeler fantezilerini, öykülerini aktarırlar. Ümit ederim ki birçok kültürü ve grubu bir arada barındıran gizemli ve şiirsel İstanbul'da bütün kongre üyeleri, katılımcılar ve eğiticiler, eğitmenler hayali ve zihinsel bir sahne yaratarak her birimiz kendi ilgi alanlarımız doğrultusunda etkili ve doyurucu öyküler söyleriz. Umarım yalnızca kongrede olmaktan değil de İstanbul'da olmaktan da çok kazançlı olarak evlerimize, ülkelerimize döneriz. Freud'a göre her insan gönlünce bir şairdir. Şair, son şair yok olmayacaktır son insana dek. Freud'dan esinerek ben de diyorum ki grup terapileri çeşitli teorik ve teknikleriyle insanlar var oldukça var olmaya devam edecektir. Hepinize iyi çalışmalar diler ve keyifli günler.
Very good to see all nationalities represented here. That's one of the reasons I love to work for IAGP, to have this opportunity to meet so many people from different countries. My task now is to introduce the speaker for this evening, Dr. Sabar Rastumji. And as you know, she's the president of IAGP, and she's been working very, very hard during the last 3 years, and I'm very grateful for all the work that she's done for us. And I'm also very proud to be not only a colleague, but also a friend I've known
Sayın Usturmiye'nin
Sabah
sadece
for
meslektaşı
almost
olduğum
10
için
years.
gurur duymuyorum. Bir de dostuyum.
I asked her, what shall I tell about you
Şimdi ben kendisine sorarsam bütün
tomorrow?
gün
I asked her yesterday, and she said, well,
dinleyicileri senin
I'm
hakkında ne
5'1"
söyleyebilirim diye sordu.
So
O da
I thought that was a good
boyunun
introduction.
ölçüsünü verdi
And
efendim 1.58 kadar.
then she gave me a long list of all her credentials
Ondan
and
sonra da
professional
bana
qualifications.
profesyonel olarak
And
neler yapmış
I don't think you're interested in that. So I decided to say a little bit about what I know about her. And if I'm correct, I haven't checked this, I think she's born in Sri Lanka, is that true? So I guess that's true enough. And then she raised her, and then she studied medicine in Mumbai. And I can tell you, to be a female student and pass the boundaries to get into schools like that, that's a heroic thing in itself, I think. And then she moved with
As you all can imagine, we are very good friends, and so it doesn't matter what he says. It's all in good fun. Thank you. I also wanted to thank Dr. Kumbasara and the Turkish Association of Group Psychotherapists for making this Congress possible for us. When I was site selection chairman some years ago, I had the pleasure, with the help of Laila Navarro, Hakan Kumbasara and Rashid Bulut, to visit Istanbul. And I visited other cities too and decided that this was really the magnificent city to hold our 5th International Congress. And I'm sure you'll all be very happy here as I am. Thank you. Now in gratitude, we'd like to offer a few gifts of token to the members who have made this possible from the Turkish
Bu
Association of
kongrenin
Group Psychotherapists.
İstanbul'da gerçekleşmesi için çalışan Türk Grup Terapi Örgütü'ne sonsuz teşekkür ederim. Kaçmaya çalışırız.
And one can feel extremely
Kolay,
vulnerable and
insanoğlunun
overwhelmed
kolaylıkla
at the
taşıyabileceği bir
thought of
duygu
sharing
değildir
an
utanç.
experience of shame, even with one near and dear.
Özellikle en
Shame may
yakınımızda
be
olan
either
insanlar
short-lived or
karşısında
chronic
utanç
with
duymak
lifelong
öyle çok
recurrences and
hoşumuza giden bir
repercussions.
durum değildir.
When the shame experienced is high in intensity, it is
Ve
experienced
utanç
with feelings
duygusu
of intense
güçlendikçe,
humiliation following discovery. One's
güçlendikçe
credibility,
kişi
honor,
kendisini
and
küçülmüş
very essence of
hisseder.
self-worth as a moral and
Ve
ethical
diğer
person
yandan
can be
bu
so easily destroyed when a
utanç
potentially
duygusunun
shame-inducing event
artmasıyla
in one's
kişi
life is
kendini hem
brought out
küçülmüş
into
hem
the open.
dıştalanmış hisseder.
Shame is about losing one's honor.
Mesela kişinin
Reputation,
onurunu
reputation,
kaybetmesi
reputation.
duygusu.
Oh,
Onurunu
I've lost my
kaybetme korkusu.
reputation. I've
Kişinin
lost the immortal part of
iyi
myself,
isminin
and what
erozyona
remains now
uğraması.
is the bestial.
Bunun bize verdiği utanç.
Those were the words that were spoken by Cassio in
Ve
Shakespeare's Othello.
Shakespeare'in Otello'sunda Cassio'nun söylediği
In this
gibi,
context,
evet
loss of
utanç,
honor is
sana
compared
adımı
to soul
kurban
murder.
verdim demesi gibi.
To be able to feel one is honored.
Bizim için, biz
One
insanlar
needs to
için
have
önemli olan
healthy
şereflendirildiğimizi
self-esteem, healthy
hissetmek
self-worth,
ve
and a
kendi
healthy
gözümüzde
self-image.
kendi değerimizin
This
artması.
means having the capacity
Biz
to overcome
insanlar,
feelings of inadequacy and weakness,
biz bütün bu duyguları
incompetence,
niçin
guilt and
isteriz?
shame
Çünkü
without crumbling or
yetersizlik,
fragmenting.
kendi
Hence it is
yetersizliğimizle
no
karşılaşmak,
wonder that we as
kendi
human beings try
yetersizliklerimizin
our utmost to
farkına
avoid a
varmak
confrontation
bir
with
diğer
shame.
utanç kaynağıdır.
Sayın meslektaşlarım ve konukları, bugün Profesör İlber Ortaylı'yı size takdim etmekten çok büyük bir onur duyuyorum. Türkiye'nin en önde gelen tarihçisi, herkesin sevdiği bir akademisyen, tarihi insanlara sevdiren kişi olarak İlber Ortaylı'yı tanıştırmak isterim. Profesör Ortaylı aslında neden tarihçi olmak istediğini bilmediğini de açıklamış bulunuyor. Neden burada olduğunu da bilmediğini bana söyledi. Ama Ortaylı'nın son kitabına baktığımız zaman topluluk içerisinde Osmanlı ailesi başlığını taşıyan kitabına baktığımız zaman onun geçmiş köklere ne kadar dönük olduğunu, onları nasıl analiz ettiğini biliriz. Şöyle der, hep bir kan bağı vardır. O kan bağını seversiniz ya da sevmezsiniz. Ama bütün bunları kendinizin araştırmanız gerekir. İlber Ortaylı'nın akademik... Teşekkür ederim Sayın Başkan. kadar övgü dolu bir tanıtım için teşekkür ederim. Ve İnşallah hafızamı kaybetmem, Tanrı'ya duacıyım hafızamı kaybetmemek için. Bütün bunlar sabahın erken saatinde buraya geldiğim için olur mu bilmiyorum. Osmanlı toplumu kozmopolit bir toplumdu, karışık bir toplum. Bir sürü dil, bir sürü ırk, bir sürü dini bünyesinde barındırıyordu. Vilayetlerin, Diyarbakır vilayetinin 19. yüzyıl sonundaki başkanlık divanı, tabii Osmanlı sivil yöneticilerinden mürekkepti. Ama aynı zamanda bütün bu divan üyeleri temsili gücü olan seçilmiş üyelerdi. Tabii ki unutmayalım ki bu seçilen kişiler dinsel toplumun yöneticileri, temsilcilerini de kapsıyordu. Diyarbakır vilayetinin temsilcisi bir Ermeni papazıydı. Aynı zamanda Ermeni Katolik papazıydı. Yanı sıra Sünni ve Şafii müftüler ve tabii ki Yahudi Çift Rabay da Diyarbakır vilayetinin dinsel temsilcileri olarak divanda yönetim grubunda yer alıyorlar. Tabii dinler arası iletişim söz konusu olduğu zaman bu kadar renkli bir topluluk, community, ancak
what does it mean to introduce, for instance, Western models of psychotherapy into other cultures? How do they learn from us, and what do we learn from them, and what problems do we encounter? And is this a missionary work? Is it developmental aid? Or is it a subtle form of Western cultural imperialism? Some of these questions I hope will be thrown up, and now I want to introduce the speakers in order of speaking. Dr. Alfred Pritz, a colleague of mine from Vienna, psychoanalyst and group analyst, president of the World Council of Psychotherapy. I've worked with him in trainings in Eastern Europe. Douglas Kong, on my right, also, we're all presidents here apart from me, president of the Association for Group and Individual Psychotherapy in Singapore, and president of the Asia-Pacific Association of Psychotherapists. On my left, Sabah Rastamji, president of the International Association of Group Psychotherapy, which is hosting this conference, member of the Group Analytic Society, of the American Group Psychotherapy Association, and many leading organizations.
Of different types, and also, for instance, lawyers. Lawyers do a lot of mediation, of family counseling, of partnership counseling. So these are some of the groups. And we can ask ourselves, what do the leaders of the psychotherapy associations do to support and to develop psychotherapy in this competition field? And I just give you an answer of a very disappointing development, but now turning into better. Just an example. In many organizations, the leaders don't think politically, but they have more or less a high priest function in trying to maintain the right modality. This is very important, and I don't want to devalue that. I think that's very important. But on the other hand, there should be also there need to be political thinking, if not psychopolitical thinking, because if it is not there, then this part leads to a shrinking of the organizations and more talking only with each other. I give you an example. The International Psychoanalytic Association is a very closed club of 5,000 people, and when there was the fall of the
in my country, for instance, 2 candidates went for training in group analysis last year, besides others who have been trained in psychotherapy. My Filipino colleagues tell me that they're setting up an institute of psychotherapy in the near future, and the conference, the ASEAN Conference of Psychiatry in the Philippines, not in March 2000, in December 2003, will feature a lot of psychotherapy themes. And of course, not forgetting the fact that we just had a psychotherapy conference in Southeast Asia. No, not the first, it's the third. The first was in Bali, followed by Langkawi. It's the third conference in our part of the world, but in the sense that it was a first, in that it was solely devoted to psychotherapy. Family therapy. I was very much involved in this as a resource person for services to children and parents. Because of my involvement with the panel, I was nominated to lead the task force on family center services. When the task force was formed, we organized meetings, we organized workshops, we get staff of the Council of Social Services to visit all the social services center to convince them that family therapy is indeed a better modality than the kind of casework that they were doing then. And as a result of that, a course was started which led to the Diploma of Family Therapy. A lot of input was from the Tavistock Clinic, where people like Alan Copeland was there, and a lot of others had their input. And graduates of this course later formed the Association of Marital and Family Therapy, which are mostly looking towards London and the way of family therapy there. As a result, there was a split in the family therapy community, with some people forming the family therapy network looking more to the United States. In psychodrama, Dr. Chow Mei Lin
Analysis unit, all patients with end-stage renal failure, with metastatic breast cancer patients, to have groups of them, various inpatient groups, various outpatient groups. At the moment, I'm doing a first episode psychosis group, and these are all hospital-based groups, hospital-funded and hospital-supported. And I think it's great that hospitals in Australia, at least, are not totally anti-psychotherapy. Even our medical students in Australia, there is a compulsory regulation that they have to see a patient for 40 sessions before they graduate as psychiatrists, so that psychiatrists are now becoming more psychologically minded. And there are various other cases they have to write up, and quite a number have to be short-term psychotherapy cases. And group psychotherapy is one of the requirements, or an alternative requirement to an individual psychotherapy case medical students have to write up. So we are progressing, although in a small way, not as great as we would like it to be, but the roots are there. Now, I was very impressed with the Congress that set up in Singapore, and that was our 6th Pacific Rim Regional Congress that IAGP set up. The first one was in Tokyo. After that, we had it in Taiwan, in Melbourne, and then we rotated it again around, and now the last one was in Singapore. The next one will now again be in Taiwan. And so we have spread all the sections, not only group analysis, but all sections through IAGP to all these Pacific Rim areas. I have personally now gone and made some inroads into India, into Mumbai now, in India, and conducted workshops there. And I am negotiating with Sri Lanka to conduct workshops in Sri Lanka. so that group psychotherapy can become an accepted treatment modality in these areas as well.
And Dr. Kong, that if there are confusion or other types of pre-existing approaches, and we see in Africa, as Dr. Pritz has said, you must make alliances with the religious leaders and the political leaders according to who are in the hierarchy of great importance. Because oftentimes it's not the medical center who are producing their contacts with people. Then one has to analyze or evaluate what is the action of what you should do first. For example, if you go into a country in which there is poverty, you have to deal with that first. If people don't have houses, you have to deal with that first. The idea of deciding to give meaning in an interpretive fashion is far down the line. So one has to progress. So here we have an operational evaluation, and then we have to translate that into action. Model or a family systems model, whatever model that you have, and I believe it should be a hierarchy value of models, in which you are going to sequentially use those models according to the needs of the country. If you don't progress that way, you will obviously face that some of our sophisticated interpretive methods will be of no value.
Before I throw it open to the floor, I just want to put in my own 10 cents worth. I used to think that was an Americanism, but we have the euro now in my country, and we have 10 cents as well. 3 small points. First point, Fern's overhead projection about the preparation for training and really researching what is going on in the countries that you come to. My experience, I had 2 experiences which are very, very different in this context, in the Ukraine and in Israel. Just to illustrate this, in the Ukraine, where Alfred said at the beginning in the Soviet Union there was basically no psychotherapy as we know it, there's a strong tradition of top-down. The boss tells you what to do. The university professor controls his staff with an iron hand. And we found, working over 5 years in the Ukraine, we had initially very much to adapt to this. We had to accept that the top university professors and people would be monitoring us, looking over our shoulders, seeing what we were doing, integrating them. And it took a process of at least 5 years to relax this. But the benefits were that I would say not only were people there learning about psychotherapy, but the university departments were becoming more democratic. The bosses were listening to their residents and to the people who were working under them. An opposite situation in the project I'm working now in Israel, where there's a very strong tradition of working in groups, but not necessarily in group psychotherapy as we know it, in support groups of all kinds. Most of these are funded by the Ministry of Defense.
Of psychotherapy and psychoanalysis, but people who came there from another country didn't know this. And the last words, I don't believe in training with translators, and it's now is very disseminated for commercial reasons in Eastern Europe, that people come and not understand the language and have a training. That's commercialism is not in the moment, because now East European people have not money, but is a market, because in future will be enough money and they will earn money.
All these papers are based on the work of 2 institutions, the Open Psychotherapeutic Center and the Institute of Group Analysis Athens. I think it's worth to say some words about these 2 institutions in order to give you the frame of reference, say, this kind of work, and in order to make more easy to understand the whole concept. So allow me to
say a few words about these two institutions. First, the Open Psychotherapeutic Center was established in 1980, and it is an autonomous, self-sufficient and non-profit psychiatric day center functioning in Athens, Greece. It has a therapy department which therapeutic philosophy is based on group analysis and therapeutic community principles, and has a wide variety of diagnostic, therapeutic and supportive services for adults, children, adolescents and family, which up to date have been attended by more than 7,000 persons. It has also scientific and training activities, providing introductory courses and postgraduate trainings in psychodrama sociotherapy, family therapy and diagnostic psychology.
Important event, it is colored with the first symposium offered to the whole training community by the trainers at their own expense. It is important to clarify that the entire training program is materialized through a communal setting, and all activities are taking place in small, medium and large groups. So at this point, I will write a short description of the training community, and one gets a picture of how all these groups are integrated from this table, where the groups are enumerated and presented briefly. The size of the group is indicated, and next to this is the time, the frequency, the duration, and the hours required. After the size, as you can see in the table, there is the approximate developmental level which prevails to each particular group activity and is marked accordingly. For example, there is some activities that the students, the participants, they communicate at the peer level. There are other activities that the participants, the members of the group, participates at an adult level. And this is something that I wanted to emphasize because it's of particular importance. Next, let's see this table more specifically. Let's start from the most important activity, the training program, that is personal analysis in a group. The student participates for a minimum of 600 hours in a twice a week, small, slow open group analytic group that is in a group comprised of both patients and trainees. Supervision.
The interaction between peer students with a common axis, that of support, and taking advantage of the supervisory group as a mirror of the supervised activity. The above factors will create the conditions for the development of student support, critical thought and creativity during their training in psychotherapy. In the Institute of Group Analysis in Athens, since 1983, an original model of group supervision is applied. It is based on the principles of group analysis and was formulated by Yannis Tsekos. Our presentation concerns this specific model, which is applied in the Institute of Group Analysis and the 3 training institutes of the Open Psychotherapy Center of Athens. The corresponding training programs comprise personal therapy, theory, clinical practice, and supervision. Yannis Tsekos experimented with different settings and processes until in February 1983 had the idea to ask the students to express their own feelings and fantasies. The whole atmosphere changed completely. The comments on the presented group became more accurate and were to a large extent related to the feelings and fantasies expressed before. All these experimentations that took place in the following months led to offering the opportunity to study the personality in depth based on measurable objective parameters. The review of the literature has not shown any similar studies. Single tests alone have been used in selection or mainly in projects assessing various mental health professionals. Today we are presenting a pilot study of an ongoing research project whose aim is to examine candidates' personality characteristics based on the MMPI and on quantitative parameters of the Rorschach. The trainees had applied to one of the following 4 programs. First, a qualifying course in group analysis of IGA Athens at the Institute of Group Analysis Athens, the qualifying course in psychodrama and sociotherapy at the Institute of Psychodrama and Sociotherapy, the qualifying course in family therapy, or the qualifying course in psychological assessment at the respective institutes, which Dr. Kapuri also mentioned in the beginning in her presentations. The last 3 are organized in collaboration with the Open Psychotherapy Center, and the last 5 years, and the others are 4-year courses. They all include personal therapy, theoretical seminars, supervision, clinical experience, and a thesis. All 4 are organized as training communities. The sample includes the protocols of 51 trainees who have undergone evaluation. The next, please. As about referral source, you can say that the most populated, the general people used to come from another patient who use the OPC, or for advertisement which is through internet or newspapers or articles in magazines and something like this. Reason for arrivals, you can see the first is depression or mood disorders, second anxiety, or the third is relation problems, confusion, self-respect, and some psychosomatic symptoms. About the sex, women is about 60%, and the other are men. About age, you can see the 32% are between 31 to 40, and 24% from 18 to 25 years old. As it concerns working situation, most of the people are working, 48%, and then non-working. Most of the people who come are unmarried, bachelors, and then 27% married, about 10% divorced. We adopted this model, which involves the systematic administration of a battery of tests, personality inventories, as well as projective techniques, before entering therapy and 6 months after completion of therapy. MMPI and Rorschach are always included in this pattern. A testing test study based on MMPI and Rorschach test had previously been conducted at the OPC in order to examine personality changes after a successful completion of group analytic psychotherapy in a patient setting of consistent diagnosis. The present study concerns an ongoing prospective research focusing on the evaluation of personality changes in patients who completed group analytic psychotherapy successfully. In this study, we attempt to investigate in a heterogeneous sample the type and extent of changes that occurred in the patient's personality and the factors that intervene and determine these changes: age, sex, diagnosis, duration of therapy, and group analytic group alone or combination of group therapy for women. The following criteria determine the selection of files of years 1998 and 1999. Proper completion of therapy means that the farewell period of months has been respected and the whole group, including the conductors, has agreed to the termination of therapy. Second, a psychological assessment has been administered before entering therapy and 6 months after its completion. And for the initial assessment and reassessment, the test battery should include an MPI and result. 39 cases have been identified to match the above.
Patients were assessed clinically and prospectively by their therapist in the beginning and in the termination phase of therapy. We tried thus to examine the patient's common repetitive attitudes and behaviors clinically through their therapist observation and the coping styles each patient had in the beginning and the termination phase of group psychotherapy. Coping styles are conscious methods of solving and facing problems as these are described by the relevant theory of Lucic. These methods relate to personality, the psychological differences, and the special and characteristics of patients with anxiety disorder. For the above reason, we turned to 13 of our more experienced colleagues who practice group analytic psychotherapy for an average of 12 years, and we asked them to respond to a specially formulated questionnaire for at least 3 of their patients with such a diagnosis. Of course, we are aware that these first results are only indicated because it was only the therapist evaluation which was examined. In the second phase, we tried to compare the therapist's view with these of their patients, giving to them the same questionnaire. The selected criteria for the patients that we imposed on the therapist were that they should have to be classified under one of the anxiety disorders in Axis 1, DSM-4. They should have completed successfully group analytic psychotherapy as their main therapy in groups functioning either in the Open Psychotherapy Center or in integrated practice under the supervision of the Open Psychotherapy Center. They should have terminated successfully after at least 2 years of group analytic therapy. An important factor concerning our study is that all therapists who participated have had their training in either the Institute of Group Analysis of Athens and the Institute of Psychodrama and Sociotherapy, and both institutes have similar training courses with one and the same therapeutic philosophy under the auspices of the Open Psychotherapy.
The workshop was to find some more space in the program, and as we have heard, there is a lot of interest in these events, and I think all people who are in this part of the program should be responsible to come and to hold these events. We will try to, for tomorrow, we will try to find out if some of the presenters haven't registered and announce that at the front door and at the conference desk so that you get an impression of what you can expect. But in general, I simply want to underline, especially for those who present, to be there at 7:30 in the morning and to hold these events. There's a couple of other announcements I have to make. One relates to an additional workshop. There was one workshop, unfortunately not included into the program, given by Deborah Freeman and Naomi Paynton, and this workshop is entitled Group Dynamics and the Theater Rehearsal Process. This interesting workshop will take place today, starting at 12:30. It's a 3-hour workshop, and it will take place in the room Barbados 1. It will also be announced outside if you don't get it now. So this is an additional workshop. The second thing, I was informed that there was some confusion related to the large groups yesterday in the late afternoon. Because my explanation is because Gerhard Wilke cancelled, probably there was a note that the large group, including Gerhard Wilke, will be cancelled. That's not true. All the large groups take place, and they took place yesterday, and they will go on during the next days. Alberto Serrano asked me to mention that his workshop, which has the number W25, working with
the Program Committee, thank you very much for the invitation, ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure for me and also a great honor to be here today. And there are at least 3 reasons that I'm particularly happy to be part of this conference. One is the topic itself, the social and cultural aspects of globalization in the context of sustainability are one of the most crucial global issues we have at the moment when entering a new century. The century started different than most people hoped for. We just had the Rio +10 conference in South Africa, and it was really not a success. We had a breakdown of the new economy and enormous difficulties in world financial markets. We have enormous problems in the climate issue and the Kyoto Protocol, but above all we had the 11th of September. We have an Iraq war about which even the Western world is in a split about whether it was justified or not. So the state of the globe is not as one would hope for. It is a very difficult situation. Now many people think that the real issue is a kind of clash of cultures, in particular the clash between the Western world and the Islamic world. I think this is a wrong point of view, but anyhow, if this is an issue, then to be in this place is maybe the best place to choose. For many reasons, this is a bridge between the 2 worlds, and it's a great...
So I started to work with him, what happened in this and that. And in many cases, I have seen chronic sicknesses related to war diarrhea of 1915, 1916 in France, in the trenches, during the war of 1914, 1918. So I started to question him about his family, and we found out that the brother of his grandfather was wounded and had diarrhea and died in the trenches in 1950. He got better. 5 days later, I was called by the doctor of my training.
That's why we cannot analyze in the coffee house. We cannot make analysis outside of the home.
Those come later as verbal recognition or reward sense. Those are strokes too. Just to say hello to each other is a stroke, isn't it? Then, and of course, again, those who are in infant psychiatry know very well the secret of how to make a baby smile. You take a baby, a very young baby in your arms, and you catch his eyes.
Very important to recreate a situation where the patient self is recognized as intentional and real self-agency concept to establish or re-establish self-agency. That the therapist sees the agentive self-independence